Urgent Dallas Cowboys fans, do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel because here we bring you daily videos with the latest Dallas Cowboys updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Hey Cowboys fans, today I've got a story that's going to send shockwaves through the fan base. And honestly, it's something that could define the rest of Dallas's season. We're diving deep into a recent game that, frankly, had everything. Highs, lows, drama, and some serious questions about the team's future. If you've been following the Cowboys this season, you know how critical these final few games are, especially with playoff hopes hanging by a thread. But what happened in that game at Ford Field against the Detroit Lions? Well, it's a story packed with lessons, frustrations, and perhaps some wake-up calls. Let's set the scene. Coming into that Thursday night football game, the Dallas Cowboys had everything to play for. With the playoffs just around the corner, every game was a must-win. And folks, the stakes couldn't have been higher. The Cowboys, sitting on the edge of the postseason picture, knew that a loss could seriously damage their chances. The math was simple. Win, and they stay in control. Lose, and they risk falling below a 10% chance to make the playoffs. That's a brutal reality for a team with Super Bowl aspirations. And what we saw on the field that night was a roller coaster of emotions. The Cowboys fought hard, yes, but ultimately, they came up short in a high-scoring, dramatic affair that kept fans on the edge of their seats until the final seconds. Jared Goff, the Lions quarterback, was in top form, completing 25 of his 34 passes for a staggering 309 yards. That's an average of nearly 9 yards per attempt, which is impressive under any circumstances. Goff's success was largely built on quick, precise throws, those quick slants off zone coverage that kept Dallas's defense on their heels all night long. Now, it's crucial to understand the strategic choices that Dallas made defensively and why they backfired so badly. From the outset, the Cowboys seemed to be playing a fragile, reactive game plan. They appeared to adopt a not-to-lose mentality rather than an aggressive, game-winning approach. That's a dangerous mindset, especially when you're trailing through most of the game. It's almost as if they were more concerned about not giving up big plays than about forcing turnovers or applying consistent pressure. And speaking of pressure, what about the way Dallas's defense handled Goff? Well, it was a mixed bag. Early in the game, the Cowboys managed to pressure Goff 4 times within his first 6 dropbacks. That's good, right? But then, inexplicably, the strategy changed. They blitzed him just 3 times after that initial burst, and the rest of the game, Goff was given all the time he needed to dissect Dallas's secondary. That's perplexing, considering the early success with blitz pressure. Why pull back? Was it a tactical mistake? Or does it point to deeper issues within the Cowboys' defensive scheme? This brings us to the core problem, what's been a recurring theme all season long with Dallas's defense. Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator, has been a figure of controversy. His approach, which often involves playing soft coverage and mixing blitzes, has drawn heavy criticism from analysts and fans alike. On Thursday night, it was glaringly obvious that the Cowboys' zone coverage wasn't just ineffective. It was almost non-existent. Goff was able to find open receivers with ease, especially on quick slants and crossing routes, which the Cowboys just couldn't seem to defend properly. Now let's pause for a moment and reflect. Why does Eberflus insist on playing so soft in critical moments? Is it a lack of confidence in the secondary, or perhaps a misjudgment of the team's personnel? Considering that Dallas's secondary features players like Trevon Diggs and others, it's hard to believe they lack talent. No, it's more about scheme and mindset. And this decision not to tighten coverage in the crucial moments, particularly when the game was on the line, cost them dearly. In the fourth quarter, after Dallas managed to cut the deficit to just 1 score twice, you would expect a team fighting for its playoff life to tighten up, to turn up the intensity. Instead, Eberflus's defense played soft coverage again. And what did that lead to? Back-breaking touchdowns for Detroit both times. It's almost as if, in those moments, the Cowboys' defense was resigned to their fate, unwilling or unable to make the necessary adjustments. And let's not forget the broader implications. The game's outcome has sent ripples through the Cowboys' playoff race. Their chances of making the postseason, which already looked slim, now are below 10%. That's a brutal reality, especially when you consider the talent on this roster. The offense, led by Dak Prescott, has been performing at a high level, and players like C.D. Lamb have been phenomenal all season. But football is a team sport, and if the defense can't hold up its end of the bargain, all that offensive firepower can be for nothing. This leads us to an interesting point. How does this game compare to Dallas's recent past? Well, if we look back at the last few seasons, the Cowboys have been somewhat inconsistent on defense. They've had moments of brilliance, but also stretches where they've looked vulnerable, especially in the secondary and against the run. The 2022 season saw a lot of defensive struggles, and 2023 has been no different, with Eberflus's scheme often criticized for being too passive or predictable. The fact that this game resembled so many previous setbacks raises questions about whether the Cowboys can truly rely on their defense in crunch time. Now, some fans and analysts might say, well, Dallas's offense is doing its part. Dak Prescott is playing well, and CeeDee Lamb is always a threat. But football isn't just about individual performances. It's about the collective effort, especially on defense. And right now, the Cowboys are facing a crisis of confidence and execution on that side of the ball. Their inability to get stops when needed most is the starkest reminder that, despite their talent, they are still searching for consistency. What about the historical context? Dallas has a storied defense in the past, especially during their Super Bowl winning seasons. Players like DeMarcus Ware, Charles Haley, and Troy Aikman's dominant defenses are part of their legacy. But in recent years, that identity has been somewhat lost. The current roster, with players like Trevon Diggs, is trying to recapture that defensive swagger, but games like Thursday night expose how far they still have to go. It's a stark reminder that talent alone isn't enough. Scheme, discipline, and mental toughness are equally vital. And let's not forget the importance of the upcoming games. The final 4 matches of the season are now do or die for Dallas. If they don't tighten up defensively, their playoff hopes could vanish faster than many anticipated. The pressure is immense. They will face teams with potent offenses, and the margin for error is razor-thin. The coaching staff, especially Eberflus, will be under scrutiny like never before. Fans are already debating whether a coaching change might be necessary, especially if the defense continues to falter in these critical moments. In comparison to other teams in the league, Dallas's struggles are not unique, but they are especially costly given the talent on the roster. Teams like the San Francisco 49ers or Philadelphia Eagles have demonstrated how dominant defenses can carry teams deep into the playoffs. The Cowboys, with their offensive firepower, have always had a shot if their defense rises to the occasion. But right now, it's clear that the consistency and adaptability that's needed in the postseason are still elusive. Looking ahead to the future, what should fans expect? Well, there's a lot of uncertainty. Will Dallas stick with Eberflus and his scheme? Or will they make adjustments, perhaps even a coaching change, if the defense continues to underperform? The team's organizational culture and leadership will play a crucial role in those decisions. Moreover, players like Trevon Diggs, who has been a key part of their secondary, will need to step up and lead the way. The defensive line, too, must find a way to generate more pressure without relying solely on blitzes, especially given how Goff was able to pick Dallas apart with time. The upcoming games will also serve as a test for the coaching staff to demonstrate whether they can adapt under pressure. Will they stick to a soft zone and risk another costly game, or will they tighten coverage and blitz more aggressively? The answer to that question could determine the Cowboys' fate this season. Fans are anxiously awaiting to see if Dallas can learn from their mistakes and make the necessary adjustments to make a playoff run. In conclusion, this game at Ford Field wasn't just a loss. It was a window into the challenges that Dallas faces. The vulnerabilities in their defense, the questionable tactical decisions, and the slim playoff odds all paint a picture of a team at a crossroads. The Cowboys have the talent, the offense, and the potential, but if they don't fix their defensive issues, their season might end sooner than they'd hoped. This game is a stark reminder that in the NFL, every play counts and the margin for error is razor-thin. So what's next for Dallas? Will they rally and turn their season around? Or will this be the moment that fans look back on as the turning point? That's what makes following this team so fascinating. Every game, every decision, every play counts. And as fans, we're all eagerly waiting to see if Dallas can respond, adapt, and ultimately rise to the challenge. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Dallas Cowboys news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and IT makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let's continue with the big reveal. Now for the big news that's been making waves in the Cowboys community, something that could shake up the entire franchise if it materializes. But before we get into that, I want to emphasize how crucial it is to stay tuned because the next few weeks are shaping up to be some of the most pivotal in recent Cowboys history. We're talking about not only playoff implications, but also the potential coaching decisions, roster moves, and strategic adjustments that could redefine the team's identity moving forward. The core questions remain. Can Dallas's defense find its footing in time? Will they make the necessary adjustments to avoid a disastrous exit? And how will the coaching staff respond to mounting criticism? These aren't just hypothetical concerns. They are the real issues facing the team right now. And as fans, we're all holding our breath, waiting to see if this team can rise above adversity or if this season will be remembered as a missed opportunity. And remember, the story isn't just about this game. It's about the bigger picture, the legacy of the Cowboys, their pursuit of another Super Bowl, and the resilience needed to get there. Every player, every coach, every fan has a role in shaping this narrative. So keep watching, stay engaged, and let's see what the future holds for America's team. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to US and to the Dallas Cowboys. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Dallas Cowboys news.